here, the Scrapbooking Photographer. Welcome to my channel and thanks for stopping by. Today is Tuesday Inspiration, and Tuesday's Inspiration is a collaboration of four of us. There's myself with Mel from Mel W Scrapping, Hollie from Ivy Cole Creations, and Jen from Kay's Mum Scrapbooking. So each week one of us will come up with some inspiration. So this is Mel's week, and here's the image that she came up with for inspiration this week. And what really struck me about it was the grey tones to it with the brightly coloured lights around it. And it put me in mind of our pussycat, Percy, who was taken by the Christmas tree and enjoyed lying under it. We weren't quite sure if he was going to knock it off the bench, because it's just a small tree that sits on top of the bench, but he seemed to quite like lying underneath it and jingling the balls as he walked through the gaps. I'm using the sketch from the Layout Library. So the Layout Library is a group on Facebook which people contribute different layouts to. We have a different theme every month, and just this year we've started having a sketch each month to work to. So you don't need to make a video to use the sketch, just hop on over and check it out, and you can use it for whatever you want to do. But it'd be great if you could share what you've done with the layout people. I'm going to start with a real red background, and as per the sketch, a shortened 12 by 12, so it's, 11.5 by 11.5. I will gut the back out of that before we go much further. Now in the sketch, the four photos are straight on. So if we do something like that, that will be good. And I'm going to use this paper from the Reindeer Memories from Stampin Up as the highlights behind it. The pieces that go behind the photos are also 4x4, so I'm going to cut those out and put them aside with the photos, and then we'll do some mixed media in the background before we stick anything down. To do the mixed media today, we're using a piece of old plastic wrap which has come off a pack of Stampin' Up A4 cardstock. And I'll just screw that up and use it as a bit of a sponge. So I've taken the Close to My Heart pewter ink and squeezed the top lid onto the ink pad so that you get a little bit of ink on the lid. I'm just doing it again there. Spray a little bit of water on it and it makes it very transferable. So using the screwed up plastic, I'm just going to go across and make a sort of a cross mark in the middle, certainly not defined at all, but it's going to go in between the photos, which, as we've already seen, are in each corner. So if we put this grey smushy stuff down the middle and across the middle, then we'll end up with the look as per the sketch. So when you're finished, just make sure you wipe out the lid properly, because you don't want any water transferring onto the ink pad. And we'll bring in the real red back, which has been gutted now, and we can stick that piece together. And I do notice here as I stick it down that there's a tiny little piece that's got a bit wet and it's a bit fragile. So I'd pop that up the top and just be a little bit careful around that piece. It will dry and it will be fine. And then I can bring the four pieces of designer paper in and angle them the way they are with the sketch. And bearing in mind that down the bottom there is a little bit of room required for some journaling, so I just need to leave a bit of space when I stick them in. And putting the photos in, I've got Percy looking into the frame from both the left and the right, and with those beautiful eyes looking up from the bottom left one, the bottom right one. So if I put them straight on, we'll get a little bit of the designer paper peeping through from the back, and also have enough space in between the top two and the bottom two to put our heading. Now then I'm going to look at the bits that go around the outside. Now the sketch looks like they're big stitches or little holes or something going around the outside, and I decided to put strands of lights in that spot. So I've got these really old stickers of Christmas lights, and they come in little short bursts, which is really handy because you can line them up with one little piece at a time and get them going the direction you want. So I'll speed that up a little bit for you as I put them around the outside. And as I get to the end, there's just a small wee gap to finish off with a little piece. And because the green wire is sort of angled at different places, it's easy to match them up so that it looks like it's a continuous strand of Christmas lights. And then I'll bring in a couple of poinsettias from a sticker sheet from an old Close to My Heart Christmas pack, and put one up the top and one on the left. Now the sketch has a third embellishment down the bottom, but because we've got so many lights there, I've found something else to put down the bottom, so keep watching and you'll see what that is. And the title's going to go in the middle here, and I have pre-worked that on my Cricut. So that's the offset piece, and then I'll just grab the letters off the mat here, and I end up using my pick tool because then I can scoop around underneath and lift them all up. So when you use the Cricut machine, you can choose whatever font you want that they have available, and once you've written the text that you need, you can then make this offset piece, which is the solid piece that's shaped the right way for whatever you want to say on the title. So for this one I've chosen Christmas is Coming, and I used a text where most of the letters were joined up so that they didn't need to be stuck down individually. And to stick them, I'm using the silicone mat and just some tape runner on the back, because when you go through the letters, the excess adhesive from the tape runner just sticks to the silicone mat, and then you can rub it out from between the letters anyway. So with this really fine stuff, I always find that the glue kind of spreads and then leaves a shiny patch, even if it does a fade to the supposedly invisible. So you can see that it's just fitting in nicely into the frame that's been made for it. And then of course when I've got the words down, I need to go back and pick up the dots for the eyes. So I'll do that once they're all down. But I do hope that you get to see the other people that have contributed to this hop. I think Hollie's back this year because she's now moved into her new house and all nicely settled. So that'll be great. And of course Mel will have something, and I'm not sure if Jen will join us or not this month. Let's hope so. So there's one dot going on for the Christmas, and then they're so tiny I'm actually just popping them onto the tape runner and then picking them off and putting them on top of the eyes. And then of course when those three dots are in place, I then need to stick the offset piece onto the page so that it's all stuck together, and it fits really nicely in that gap. And that's because with the Cricut you can measure it to make it the exact right size. So if you want to know more about how the Cricut works, just let me know and I can show you a little bit more about that process in other videos. So once that title is in place, I'll bring in my extra special little piece down the bottom, and it comes from Amanda Leckie from Leckie Creates, who was a member of a swap group that I was in last year, and we had one swap for Christmas, and Amanda was my partner, and she sent me this gorgeous deer along with quite a few other things, and I just think he sits beautifully in that little gap down the bottom. So I'll stick him in there, and that also meets the criteria for a Soul Scrappers challenge this month, so that's pretty cool with the deer and the poinsettia. And I've got another leaf here to pop up for the poinsettia, and that fills that gap nicely and blends in with the green behind the title as well. So I'll do my journaling off camera, and it's not in the same place as it was in the sketch, but I think with all those lights down the bottom it made more sense to bring it up a little bit into that gap. And I've got a few stars to add that are off the same Christmas sheet as the poinsettias, so the colours kind of blend in there. And then we're just about done. So that is my page for today, for this week's Tuesday's inspiration, using the sketch from the layout library. So if you'd like a copy of that, then head over there and take a look. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you get to see what the other girls have done, and I'll see you next week for Tuesday inspiration. Happy crafting, everyone.